Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Janine. I talk about sewing clothes that I feel good wearing and also picking out styles and fabrics and designs that help me to look my best. In this video, I'm going to show you a top and a dress that I have made for summer. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know that I'm always trying to improve the way I look. And part of that is looking for different patterns. I do have a bunch of patterns that I like and that I make frequently, but it's like looking for ready-to-wear clothes. You always want to have something new and different, maybe some new features. And I'm not necessarily inclined to draft things like sleeves. A little lazy and maybe not that skilled. So I'm always on the lookout for new patterns. And when I find a pattern that I like, I will often go to Instagram and see if anybody else has made it. And then I look for people who are a little bit older, wearing the garments, and maybe they have a shape that's a little bit more like mine. One of the pattern companies that does shapes more like mine really well is Cashmerette. And maybe last year, could have been the year before, Cashmerette started this Cashmerette Club subscription service. I'm not necessarily a fan of subscription services. I had a Seamwork subscription for, gosh, maybe 3 years, and I only ever sewed up one pattern. So I've got a ton of Seamwork credits, and I've got Seamwork patterns, and I just haven't been inclined to make them for whatever reason. So I was really hesitant about joining another subscription club, but I thought I would give Cashmerette Club a try for a year and see how I like it. I generally like Cashmerette patterns. I don't love all of the styles. They're not all for me. I'm not a fit and flare dress kind of gal. But I do really like that their patterns have a lot of the adjustments that I need built in. So the full bust adjustment, short-waisted, we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the video. But I like that there are lots of options for my figure with Cashmerette patterns. I do have the Cashmerette book, Ahead of the Curve, and I have used several of the adjustments in here. So I feel quite confident that the adjustments that the pattern designer Jenny Rushmore has made will work for my body. So for that reason, I decided to give Cashmerette Club a try for a year, and we'll see how it goes. This is not a Cashmerette advertisement, by the way. I'm always honest with you about what I think about things and how I like patterns and fabrics. So I'm just going to tell you how it went. I used 2 Cashmerette Club patterns in the last few weeks, so those are the garments I'm going to show you today. The first garment is the t-shirt that I am wearing. And, get this out here. The pattern that I used for that is the Carlton T-shirt, or sorry, I keep saying Carlton, the Carlyle T-shirt, Cashmerette Club pattern. So you have to have the subscription to get this. But it's, the key feature about this particular T-shirt is this beautiful square neckline. Now the other choices with the pattern, you can make long sleeves with a poofy sleeve head, and you can wear it cropped or long. I'm not doing cropped, guarantee you that. And for the sleeves, I did the short sleeves, not the long sleeves, because it's summer. And something about me, I don't know if other people are the same way, if I'm in a really air-conditioned room, this is the part of my body that gets cold first. So I think this is a nice length of sleeve for summer. So Carlyle T-shirt, and this fabric is heathered knit that I bought at L'Oiseau Fabrics here last month. I showed it to you, and I also bought a green one. I very much like this fabric. It's a nice weight. It's beefy enough that it sews up really well. It doesn't curl too badly. So I used this pink fabric for this pattern. Now with Cashmerette, they've got a little calculator that tells you what size you should cut, and I was to sew up a 16 EF in the bust, and then an 18 at the waist, and then the 16 at the hips. Now I sent this out to be printed at a copy shop, and I did not select the size 18 layer, so I just got the 16, and then I forgot, so I wound up cutting this a little smaller in the waist than I like. And honestly, I think the whole thing is a little bit tighter than I like. It's not tight, it just doesn't have any ease, and I want a little bit of, just a little bit of ease. So this doesn't look the way I would love for it to look. Wearable? Absolutely. But next one, I would just add a little bit more ease to it. Of course, the key feature is this neckline, and the back neckline piece is curved, which is different than a lot of ones I've seen, so it kind of lies nicely on the top of your upper back. And then it's got these beautiful mitered corners, and the instructions for the neck are so good. You have to take your time. They tell you where to stay stitch and then where to baste. Try it. Unpick the basting stitches if they don't work. And I had to baste the neckline twice. You don't baste the whole thing. Just baste around here. I had to baste it twice to get it to turn perfectly, but now I really feel like this neck, the corners, they almost look like really good ready to wear. So I love the neckline instructions. Now the neck is just a hair low. Depending on what bra I wear, my bras can kind of stick out a little bit here, and that's something to consider for the next one. But otherwise, I mean, it's a t-shirt, sews up super easily. I found that it was a little bit long, so I wound up using an 1 3/4 hem on the bottom, and that actually, I think, works to the advantage of this fabric because it means you have a very substantial hem. No worries about it curling or rolling up or anything. But yeah, it's a t-shirt with a really great neck. So, neck band. So that's the Carlyle T-shirt. And yeah, I'll use this again. I like that it only needed 1.25 meters of fabric. And I think that I probably have some bits and pieces around where I could make this up and color block it, maybe use one fabric for the sleeves and the neck and a different fabric for the bodice. Good way to use up some bits and pieces of fabric. So that's all I'm going to say about this t-shirt for now. Garment number 2 is another summer dress. In my last video, I showed you a piece of fabric I picked up at Rick Rack Fabrics here in Calgary. This lawn, cotton lawn. No, this is the dress, so I don't have a big piece of yardage to show you. This cotton lawn. And it's a nice lightweight cotton lawn. It's not crisp like Liberty Tana lawn, but it's a nice weight of cotton lawn fabric. And I knew I wanted to make a dress when I bought the fabric. Wasn't sure exactly what pattern I was going to use. I actually had a different one in mind than I used. One of you lovely viewers, Dawn, suggested that maybe with this bold print, I should consider going back to an 80s trend. I do love the 80s. And having the pattern orientation or the print orientation one way for the bodice and the other way for the skirt. And that was an excellent idea, Dawn. Thank you so much. That's exactly what I did. So the pattern that I decided to use is Cashmerette Club, the Kineton Dress. Now, I don't think this is a particularly good picture of the dress. This is the style of it. This is, and I've got little drawings all over when I was trying to figure out the print placement. So it's, I don't know if you can see that. You probably can't. It's a woven dress with no closure. It's got an elasticated waist. And it's got a choice of long sleeves with elasticated cuff or short gathered sleeves. The For the sleeves, I decided to make them elbow length and gathered with a little ruffle instead of puff sleeves, because I don't like puff sleeves. And I thought that I wanted shorter sleeves, of course, for summer. So that's what I did. Started with that pattern. Oh, this pattern also has pockets. Now, something about Cashmerette patterns that I've learned is that most of the time, the pattern layouts are not done on the fold. And this is because for larger sizes, you wind up with more fabric wasted if you cut things on the fold, just because of the size of the pattern pieces. So they've made the decision to lay everything out flat. What that means for a dress like this is that you have to pattern match the front and back bodice and the front and back of the skirt. And I hadn't realized that when I decided to use this fabric in this pattern. So I had many hours of pattern matching fun. And I was pretty successful, as you'll see, but it wasn't 100%. I'm not going to tell you where it went wrong, because we are trying to stop this practice of those of us who sew pointing out mistakes, okay? Not a mistake, it's just the way it worked out. And if nobody notices, who cares, right? Now, the other thing that I also thought with this dress, because there is the elastic at the waist, there are going to be some gathers. And if some of the patterns don't match up completely around the waist, then you're not going to notice it as much, right? Because there are going to be some gathers there that will kind of camouflage where things don't match well. So I set about cutting out the pattern, and on this pattern you use a piece of bias to finish the neck. I don't like that look. I don't like bias tape on the neck. First, my sewing is not always precise enough, and maybe there might be some bias tape that shows somewhere, or it's not going to be even. But also with a lightweight fabric, sometimes the bias tape, when you fold it under, you can see it. You can see a little ripple or bubble. So instead I decided to draft a neck facing, which of course is really easy to do. It's one of the fastest things that you can do to easily improve a neck. And it also gives you a place to put your labels. So I just made up this little neck binding. And otherwise, other than the length of the sleeves and adding the neck binding, I didn't change anything about the pattern. Features. Well, on the sleeves, this is different. On the sleeves, you make the channels for the sleeve when it's lying flat, and you run the elastic through the channel before you sew the side seam of the sleeve. So the elastic, this is the inside, I don't know if you can see that. So the elastic is just stitched together there. You don't have to run it through the round sleeve. Different way to do it. Worked out fine, just a different way to do it. And the elastication at the waist is really done as if you're making a French seam. So the inside, this is the finished inside seam. And yeah, there are some little threads I missed that are going to drive me crazy. But this is the inside of the elastic waist. And it's completely finished. It's like it's encased. So that's a really nice, tidy way to finish off an elasticated waist. That's what it looks like on the outside. So I'm going to talk a little bit, and I'm going to pop up me wearing the dress, and I'm going to tell you 3 things that I'm not sure about. First, the sleeves. I don't know about the sleeves. I'm thinking of taking out the elastic, shortening them, and just making them plain sleeves. Let me know what you think about that. Second, yes, it is too short-waisted. And someone commented on that in my other dress too, and I don't know why things are coming out short-waisted, because I always thought I was short-waisted. My neck, waist, back neck waist measurement is 15 inches. I think I'm going to have to start adding some fabric or checking that measurement more carefully, because yeah, it's too short-waisted. And I think it's also too short on me. I do have some fabric left, and I could do a ruffle on the bottom with the print placed horizontally. Not sure. You'll have to tell me what you think. But this dress is, I mean, fast make, really nice for, with this fabric combination too, this weight of fabric. Nice for going to the store, going out for drinks, casual dinner at home, gardening, mowing the lawn, be the best dressed lawnmower in the neighborhood. But it's a nice little dress, and I like that it's woven and it's kind of fitted, but it's not overly fussy. I think that it's got a great deal of shaping in the bodice in particular for a woven dress that doesn't have any closures. And when I was sewing it, I was a little concerned that maybe it would be hard to put on, but no, it's designed well. If you use the right size, it's got enough ease that you can pull it over your head and it fits nicely. This is not a style I normally would have picked, but I kind of like it. I think it's a good summer style dress. So that's the Cashmerette Kineton Dress. I have maybe 7 pieces of fabric around for summer kind of sewing, stuff that I want to get to. I have 2 projects that are priority. One is a summer jacket that I'm working on, and it has to be done this weekend for something I'll talk about later. And then I've got this piece of fabric, this very pretty piece of fabric that I got at Olga's Fabric Lane here in Calgary, and this is a polyester, and this is going to be a top for my mom because in a couple of weeks she has a very significant birthday. We're having a party for her, and I think that she needs to have a pretty new top to wear. My mom always loved to dress really well, and most of her clothes have been destroyed by the industrial laundry at her care home. So I was assured that this fabric can handle the hottest of hot water and the hottest of dryers. So I hope that's right. So this is going to be a top for my mom. Then I bought another piece of fabric at Olga's Fabric Lane, and I would like suggestions for a pattern. This is a linen blend. It's this gray striation, light gray, and I would like to make cropped pants, cropped pants that are not really wide. So I'm looking for, oh, this has a little stretch. So I'm looking for a pattern that would be nice for cropped pants that aren't very wide-legged, and I'm going to use top down, center out. So if they're not overly complicated, I don't know if I'm ready to make top down, center out pants where I have to do a yoke and a bunch of pockets and stuff like that. So a relatively simple pattern. If you have any ideas for nice cropped pants, I think it would be nice to have pockets. So your input is greatly appreciated. In the next few days, I'm going to look at the goals that I set for 2023 and see how I'm doing, see if I'm on track, if I want to change anything. I cannot believe that it's summer. It seems like I was sewing sweaters and there was snow falling like a day ago. However, 2 days ago, there was snow in the mountains. It's been kind of chilly, but it's beautiful now, and it's summer. As always, thank you so much for watching my channel. I truly appreciate it. I hope you're well, and I'll see you soon.